Uh, what the fuck was this? I tell you, man, this was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. I mean, sure, anytime you have a fantasy draft, even with semi interesting people picking, you know you're in for at least a fun time. But I don't know what the fuck this was. Actually, I do. It smells of something premeditated. Like they knew exactly how they wanted the rosters to be beforehand. They just said, hey guys, make it interesting. But clearly, they made it corny. You blew the twist at the start of the movie by coming out and saying how you're going to draft. And then looking at how the draft went, clearly it was set up to have the rosters in this way. We just so happen to have the past and present on one team, the future on the other, and the Euro team also. And if there's any small piece of credit that I'm going to give, it's that for about half a second, these guys had me convinced that they knew what they were doing. But slowly but surely, their amateur acting chops and inane banter could not cover the stench of this being manipulated from the very beginning. Like, I already don't take these guys seriously when they have actual takes and observations on things. But this was just crazy. Kenny coming out talking about, I want guys who actually going to play, and then picks Anthony Edwards first, not Shea Gilgis Alexander. You know, the guy who's leading the league in scoring and is a perennial MVP candidate and is currently playing on the best team in the NBA, at least in the Western Conference. Yeah, I knew once he picked Anthony Edwards, this shit was not to be taken seriously. Actually, when Shaq picked LeBron first, that's when I knew, oh, here we go. Okay, something fishy's going on here. Then Kenny picked Anthony Edwards, and I was like, yeah, this bitch set up. Not that I was any more intrigued in the All Star game as I already was not. This new format that they've implemented does nothing to make me want to watch the game. And after the hilarious draft between LeBron and KD that one year where KD didn't want to pick Russell Westbrook and everybody knew it, I never really partook in the All Star drafts. I get it. This is a fun little activity, but the format was already jank as it is. This did nothing to help that. But this All Star draft in particular, I had to check out just to see how it would go, right? Curiosity gets the best of you sometimes, and almost immediately I knew something wasn't right. And this was trash. Honestly, this was one of the most painfully obvious things I've ever seen. I respect the person who came up with the idea to have these type of rosters, but the execution just fell flat. Also, what's the fucking point in voting on starters? There's 10 starters, but there's 3 teams. And like some of the starters got picked closer to last than the first. None of this seems to make any sense.